Hello everybody, this problem is number 10 from your 3.5 homework. Now I've already shown you how to do it in class, but this is a video so that you know how to do the problems in your homework, which are in standard form. So the first thing you want to do is recognize that this function is in standard form, so I'm going to write that up here, standard form. Now, standard form looks like x squared plus something x plus a constant number. Now for part A, what they're asking you to do is put 0 into the function, right? So it's f of 0 now. So what I'm going to do is plug in 0 to the function. So now every time I see an x, I'm writing 0 instead. And I'll highlight the 0 so that you know where that came from and where it's going. Okay? So 0 squared is obviously 0, plus 4 times 0, which is also 0, minus 12. So that leaves me with negative 12 as the answer. So I'll write that in the blank space. Now notice how I printed out this page and kind of spread out the work because your book doesn't give you enough room. So I highly recommend that you're doing your work in your notebook, and I will check your homework in your notebook, not in the workbook. Now for f of 2, it's very similar to this one, right? So the form is the same, it's f of 2, which means that I'm going to be plugging in 2 to my function wherever I see an x. So it's now 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 12. And I will highlight the 2 to show you all the spots that it goes in. Okay, so 2 squared equals 4 plus 4 times 2 equals 8 minus 12. So 4 plus 8 is 12. Minus 12 equals 0. So the answer for part B is 0. That's how you do A and B for the standard form of a function. So now we're going to do C and D. Notice how f of x equals 0 looks different than f of 2 equals a blank space. So what this means is where I see f of x in my function, I replace it with 0 because it's equivalent to 0. So I'm going to rewrite my function as I see it up here, right? So instead of writing f of x, I'm just going to write equals 0. Now, this is a function that I have to solve, right? Because it's set equal to 0. And we know that when we have a function in standard form, and it is factorable, the way I'm going to solve it is by using factoring. So I'll put negative 12 on top of my diamond and positive 4. So what two factors, I'll write out the factors of 12, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. I have to decide which factors multiply to negative 12 but add to positive 4. Now when my b is positive, that means that my bigger factor is going to be positive. So I'll just put a negative sign next to the smaller factors. And I see that 4 minus 3 equals 1, so that doesn't work. 6 minus 2 equals 4, so that does work. And 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. So my two factors are negative 2 and 6. Okay, so I'll write the function in factored form. And then I will write my solutions like we usually do. So x equals positive 2 and x equals negative 6. So where it has a blank space, they really should have given you more room. So you'll write 2 and negative 6. So when you see this kind of problem, you're replacing the spot that says f of x with the number 0. And what you're going to do is factor to solve. Once you've factored your standard form, You'll flip the signs to write the answers, and then you'll fill them out up here. So now we're going to do the last part, part D. And we see that part D says that f of x equals 20. So where I see f of x in my original function, I'm replacing it with the number 20. All right, x squared now, it's not enough to say, to just start factoring now because the function equals 20. So what I need it to equal is 0. This means that I have to move the 20 over before I start solving. So minus 20 to both sides. Now this side equals 0, which means I'm ready to solve. And I will put those numbers in my diamond. Okay. So factors of 32 are 1 times 32, 4 times 8. Okay. And my b is positive and my c is negative, which tells me that my bigger factor needs to be positive, and it's the little ones that are negative. And I see which one of these adds up to positive 4, and I can obviously see that 6 minus 4 equals 4, so those are my two factors. Now over here, I'll write it in factored form. I've got 0 equals x minus 4, x plus 8. So my two solutions are x equals 4 and x equals negative 8. Okay, so here I'll write 4 and, okay, and those are your two solutions for part D. So as you work through the homework, every time you see a question in standard form, I would like you to solve using this example. And I'll post a picture of this problem up on Google Classroom.